All right, everyone on Zoom and Facebook, we're going to start in just a minute. It's 5 o'clock now, but just giving one more minute. I'm going to go get some water and then we'll start in just a moment. All right, everyone on Zoom and Facebook, we're going to start in Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I'm Lindsay Kiracofe, and tonight, Monday nights with Coppermine Vinyasa is Vinyasa or Yin Vinyasa yoga with me with Coppermine Fitness. Great start to the class, getting my words already mixed up. So for tonight's class, those of you who are new and joining, half a Vinyasa flow. We don't get too crazy in the flow, just move our body, feel, breathe, break a little bit of a sweat, but it's not meant to be an intense practice. It's a good opening first 25 minutes. And then after that, we'll settle into our yin-like poses and cool down and get deep into the deeper muscles and connective tissues of the body to open up all the tightness that we create. So let's get started by coming onto your mat if you're not there yet. And if you're joining on Zoom, if you can just put yourself on mute, that's always helpful. All right, guys, so let's get started in a comfortable seated position. You don't need anything fancy, but I do recommend sitting on something like a block or grab a pillow off your couch or a blanket. Sit any way that's comfortable, legs crossed or on your shins. You're gonna bring your hands down onto your legs, that your elbows are easy and naturally bent. And then when you breathe in, lift your arms up and overhead. And then bring that down to chest center with a nice long breath out. I'm gonna do that 2 more times. So inhale your arms out and up overhead. And then exhale, hands at chest center. And just 1 more nice good breath. Inhale, arms up, open, look up. Bring your hands through chest center onto your lap and then close your eyes. Good. Relax your jaw muscles and relax the muscles of your eyes. Just take this 30 seconds here to settle your body by being as still as you can. The mind and body are so connected that as we bring stillness to one area, like our physical, our mind, the mental, receives the same benefit, if not now, over time. Once again, be as still as you can with your eyes, with your body. Let your breath be natural. And take 1 more breath here, slightly bigger inhale. And a slightly bigger exhale. Nice. Now open your eyes. Ooh, that can make a world of a difference. Come on to your knees facing the side of your yoga mat. How about the left side of your yoga mat? And you're gonna come up onto your knees and then take your right foot to the side. So your right toes point to the front of your yoga mat. Your left knee faces the left side of your mat. Good. Bring the back of your right hand to the inside of your right knee. And you're gonna go forward towards your right foot. Your knee might go over your ankle. And then come on back up. Good. You're gonna do that several more times, going back and forth. So this is the first of many, many hip openers for our class. And sometimes when we think of the hip, we think of the hip just being here, like the side of our body. Our hip is 4 main compartments: the front, the back, the outside, and the inside. So as you lunge towards your front foot, you might feel the stretch in the inside of your right leg, like your groin area. That's part of your hip. That's your inner hip compartment. We're gonna loosen that up 2 more times, going back and forth, no rush. On this last one, you're gonna go forward, bring your inner elbow to your elbow to the inside of your thigh, like you're holding a tray. Lift your left arm over your ear, and then look up to the ceiling as you push your arm into your right leg and your right leg into your arm. Good, turn towards the ceiling for 3. Stay low in your hips. And then come on up and try to switch your legs without touching the ground with your hands. Nice, good. Left leg out, it's a yoga party trick. Bring the back of your left hand to the inside of your left knee. Same thing, other side. And if you want to go a little bit step further with this, you can exhale every time you go down and inhale every time you come up. So if you're going with me, it would be exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Otherwise, just breathe naturally and steadily at your own rhythm and rate. There's a lot of pranayama or breath works in yoga. The most important one of them all is just being able to breathe without obstruction, just letting your breath flow without letting it be stuck. Good, 2 more times. Okay, last one, you're gonna hold and bring the inside of your arm, I guess it's the outside, to the inside of your leg. Bring your top arm over your ear. Push your arm into your leg into your arm, and twist and rotate your eyes to the ceiling. Good, hold for 3. Nice, you guys. Breathe for 2. And then come all the way up without touching the floor with your hands, unless you would like to do that. Good. Downward facing dog. Take your time to get there. Wiggle out your downward facing dog a little bit. This is a moment to have fun, to get a little playful in your body. There's no right or wrong here. And if you're doing this with someone else, or if they're watching you as they're in the kitchen or something, it's a good time to smile and give a little giggle. Good. Okay, now bring your feet close to touch and lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Spread your toes up into the air and then lift your right leg a teensy bit higher. Nice, you guys. Bend your top knee. Turn your hips to face the right wall and stretch. 3. Press evenly into both hands and then straighten your right leg and step it all the way to your hands. You're going to come up to warrior 2. Bend your front knee. This is just what we did before, except before we were on your left knee. Now your back leg is straight. On your inhale, I want you to straighten your arms and straighten your front knee. And on your exhale, bend your front knee, come back to warrior 2. Similar to earlier. Inhale your arms up, legs straight. Exhale to warrior 2. 2 more. Inhale to come up. Exhale, look forward, warrior 2. Inhale to come up, look up. Exhale, warrior 2, and hold in warrior 2 for 3. Keep your eyes forward. Steady your eyes and steady your mind. Then reverse your warrior back. Now go to an extended side angle with your forearm inside of your knee, just like you did earlier. And now your top arm overhead. Same, but different. Good. Turn your eyes up to the ceiling. Breathe here for 3. If you want to stretch your hips further, you can reach your hand closer to the floor. But remember, we're still in our warm-up. Okay, hands down to the ground. Good job. Step back to plank pose. Lower all the way to your stomach and then push up into a cobra, baby cobra, or maybe an upward dog if you want. Good. Downward dog, use your knees to transition. Good. Take a nice breath. As if that breath is just cleansing out your body, your mind, carrying out anything mental that feels heavy or extra. Lift your left leg up to the ceiling. Spread your toes. Inhale your left leg higher. There you go. Now bend your knee. Turn your hips to the left wall. Press into both hands with equal weight for 3. Breathe for 2. Good. Straighten your left leg and step your foot all the way to your hands and come up to warrior 2 pose. Line your front knee over your ankle and make your front thigh as parallel to the floor as you can. That's what's going to get you into your hips. The lower your stance, the deeper the hip stretch. On your inhale, straighten your legs, lift your arms up overhead and look high. And on your exhale, warrior 2. Each time you go lower is an opportunity to go lower and stretch more. 3 more. Inhale to go up. Exhale to warrior 2. Inhale, reach up, legs straight. Exhale, warrior 2, get low. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to warrior 2, hold. Push into both feet evenly. Then reverse your warrior back for 3. Breathe, make sure your breath is still moving easily. And then extended side angle with your elbow inside your knee or on your knee and your top arm forward. Rotate your right rib cage to the ceiling and breathe. 3, 2, inhale, hands down to the ground, plank pose, exhale. Good. Lower to the ground, nice and softly without making a sound, and then baby cobra, cobra or up dog, 3. Draw your arm bones back, and then downward facing dog for a few breaths. Awesome job, you guys. Look forward, walk your feet all the way to your hands and come into a halfway lift at the front of your mat. Forward fold, release the weight of your head and stay here in a fold. Maybe shake your head out left or right. Yes, no. Good. And then let your head hang. Release the weight of your mind. Bend your knees and come up into chair pose. Sweep your arms up. You're just here for a moment, so find that nice low seat. Go 1 inch lower than you want to right now. There you go. And take 1 breath here in your chair pose, arms at your ears. And then forward fold your chest and hands down to the ground. Halfway lift to lengthen out your back. And step your right foot all the way back with your knee to the floor and sweep your arms up. Crescent moon pose. Make steeple hands, so pointer fingers up, other fingers are interlaced. Push into the top of your back foot and use that to lift up and lean back. 3. Nice. Go back as far as you want to. Look back with your eyes and lower your hands to the ground. Downward facing dog pose. Good. So that stretch is stretching out the front compartment of your hip. Good. Let's do it again. Lift your right leg up as you inhale. Bring your knee to your nose for a momentary pause, and then look between your thumbs and step as best as you can. If you didn't quite get it there the whole way, push your leg a little more forward. Drop your knee, lift your arms up overhead, steeple hands. So this front of the left hip is what we're going for. Hug your core muscles back. Yep. Lift your chest up and lean back for 3. Nice, you guys, for 2. Any depth of back bend is great. And then hands to the ground. Curl your back toes, step your back foot forward, halfway lift, big toes touch. Forward fold, exhale. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Nice, sink your hips down. So we are in the Vinyasa flow portion of your practice. This is meant to get you a little bit warmed up in your temperature and of course your muscles. Sit low, lower, yes, lower than you just were, but no lower than knee height. Take one more breath, lift your arms towards your ears and forward fold. Exhale, release the weight of your head. Halfway lift to lengthen your spine. Step your left foot all the way back, lower your knee, lift your arms up. Again, stretching the front of your left hip, pointer fingers up. Press into both feet, even the shoelaces of your back foot. Lift out of your waist, lean back a little bit more than you did the first round. 3, beautiful, 2. And then hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Exhale. Take an inhale. Breathe out, exhale. Lift your left leg to the ceiling, inhale, stretch up. Bring your knee to your nose, exhale, hold. You're in a plank, so shoulders over your wrists, and then step your foot to your hands, drop your back knee. Inhale your arms up, steeple hands. Lift through your chest, look high, and go backward. Challenge yourself. Your body is not going to gain more flexibility just by going through the motions. It's going to take an extra little bit of effort to get there. And then hands to the ground. Curl your back toes under, step forward. Halfway lift and fold. Release your head downward. Chair pose, bend your knees. We're going to continue with that. Just 2 more rounds. That was already 2. Take one breath, inhale. Sit lower, exhale. Yes, get into your legs. Inhale. This is strengthening here. And then fold. Exhale. Halfway lift. Breathe in. Step your right foot all the way back. Lower your knee. Arms up. And then interlace your fingers. Pointer fingers up for 3. Good. We're holding this just for 1 more. And then hands to the ground. Downward facing dog. Yeah, then right leg up to the sky. Breathe in, spread your toes, go big. Knee to nose, exhale, hold. Look to your thumbs, step as lightly as you can. Try not to make a sound. Lower your back knee. Easy for me, I'm on carpet. Lift your arms up. Interlace your fingers, pointer fingers up, inhale. Go backward, exhale, 3. Breathe for 2, keep your arms straight. And then hands down to the ground, curl your back toes, step forward. Half lift, inhale, lengthen your back. Forward fold, stretch out the backs of your legs. Chair pose, last round. Hold in the depth of your chair. Ask yourself, is this the strongest chair that you've been in? If yes, breathe. If no, where can you engage? Yes, hold for 3. Hold for 2, it might make you shake. And then fold, exhale. Halfway lift to lengthen. Step your left foot all the way back, lower your knee. Arms up, steeple hands, reach up. Go back, 3. See more of the ceiling, 2. Hands down, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. Take a long breath out. Lift your left leg to the ceiling, breathe in. Step your foot to your hands, exhale lightly, good, drop your knee. Arms up overhead, interlace your hands. Go up and go back. 3. Breath for 2. And then hands to the floor, curl your back toes, step forward, halfway lift. And fold. Good, come all the way up to standing now, slowly, slowly, no rush. Lift your arms to the ceiling. And bring your hands down to chest center. Close your eyes. Be as still as you can for 3 breaths. You'll get back to moving your hair and shirt in just a second. Just be here and breathe. Awesome. Release your hands down next to you. Good. Inhale your arms up. And then forward fold. We got about 5 more minutes of our standing poses. Come into halfway lift and lengthen. Step both feet back to plank pose now. And then lower down to the floor and then go to up dog or cobra. Yeah, lift your chest and hold here. Hold a little extra today. Draw your upper arm bones back. Press your chest in front of you and upward. Inhale. Downward dog. Exhale. Step your right foot to your hands. Come up to 5-pointed star with your toes facing the left side of your yoga mat. Take your hands to your hips and lift your chest slightly. And then start to fold. Hinge your hips back. Press your chest in front of you and lower your hands to the ground. So you'll be in like a halfway lift in your wide-legged fold. Lift your chest forward. Take your right hand onto the block or onto the floor and lift your left arm up to the sky. If you don't have a block, you might want to use your fingertips. So just your fingertips are touching, not your wrist. Sometimes that feels better. Look up, you might feel not just a twist, but a stretch in the inside of one of your hips, like one of your groins. Switch your hands, good. Lengthen your spine first. Left hand down, right arm comes up. Good, breathe for 3. Breathe for 2. And then both hands down to the ground. Okay, come all the way up, slowly, take your time. We're gonna go into a goddess pose. Goddess pose, so toes come out. Draw your heels in. And they don't have to be perfectly to the front and back of your mat, your feet, just as much as you can. Have your knees go in line with your toes. If your knees are caving in, draw them back or turn your toes in, one or the other. Have the backs of your hands to the insides of your knees and press. So we're getting the stretch in these inner hip muscles, but also you're really strengthening your quads and your glutes. So slightly tuck your tailbone under, like you're pulling up the pit of your belly button. Breathe for 3. Can you lift your arms up for these last 2? Good, keep your legs wide. And then slowly, slowly stand. Awesome. Turn your right toes forward, triangle pose. So your back toes are facing the side of your mat. Really good pose to use a block outside of your foot if you like. Lengthen your spine. And then rotate the left seam of your shirt up to the ceiling. Look to your top thumb. 3. 2. Good. Lower both of your hands down and then shorten your stance. Take your back foot forward about 6 inches and off to the left, twisted triangle. The left hand outside of your foot is the deepest twist, or left hand inside of your foot. Lengthen your spine and then twist right arm to the sky. So you want your outer right hip to go back. Yeah, press your outer right hip to the back of your mat and you'll get a real good outer hip stretch. Hold for 3. If you're too wobbly, step wider. Inhale. Hands to the ground. Woo, step back. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Take a breath in. And exhale, breathe it on out. Okay, left foot all the way to your hands. Here we go, goddess pose. Turn up to 5-pointed star to the right side of your mat. Turn your toes out. Bend your knees a lot, lower your hips, and then backs of your wrists to the inside of your knees. Press there. Keep your chest tall. Now, if you want, lift your arms like a goalpost, hold 5. Keep moving your breath. 3, 2, stay for the 1, and slowly stand up without reaction. Conscious action. Good. Left toes forward this time. You're gonna go right into triangle pose. The left hand to the outside of your foot, block or floor. Now when you look at your feet, align your front heel to your back heel. Lengthen your spine in both legs and turn your rib cage, right rib cage to the ceiling. Turn your both eyes to face the ceiling. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, keep the rotation. One more breath in. Exhale, hands down for twisted triangle. So you'll shorten your stance by 3 to 6 inches or so and widen your stance. Good, go with your breath. So right hand outside of your foot for the deepest twist or inside of your foot. Lengthen your back and rotate to the ceiling. Now this outer left hip tends to creep forward. You want to press it to the back of your mat. When you do that, you'll stretch through your IT band, your external rotators, your outer hip. 4, look up to your top thumb. Nice. As you look up, feel your feet, root them downward. One more breath, inhale. Hands down. Ha, this time plank pose. Step back. Hold on your inhale. Lower to the ground on your exhale. Bring your hands wide so that just your fingertips are on the ground next to your mat. Elbows high. On your inhale, do this cobra version with your arms really wide. And then exhale, lower your chest. 2 more times. Inhale, lift your chest and your head. Exhale, lower your chest and your head. Last time, inhale, lift your chest and your head. Exhale, lower your chest and your head. Bring your hands to the mat, downward facing dog. Bring your right hand to touch your left hand and step your right foot outside of your hands. Lower your back knee. This is a lizard lunge. So your right toes point directly forward and hug your right knee to the side of your right arm. And walk your arms out, or you can even lower your forearms to the ground or to a prop like a block. So we're moving into the yin portion of our practice, which isn't traditional yin, where you hold the poses sometimes for 3 to 5 minutes. This is more like a yin-like practice where we do similar poses, where it's cooling, it's more still, a little bit more quiet and soft. And in these poses, I'll give you far more variations than in the previous poses in the vinyasa practice, in the vinyasa portion. Okay, if you're on your forearms, come back up onto your hands and turn your right toes out to 2 o'clock. And then you're gonna roll, if you look at my foot, roll to the outer edge of your foot. So now you can see the bottom of your foot. Your right knee is out to the right. Good, stay here, walk your hands more in front of your shoulders, or it'll be easier to lower to your wrists, to your forearms, because of what's happening with your right hip here. But whoo, you will feel that stretch. And we're gonna be here for one more minute. So if this is already too much, if you're already thinking, when are we coming out? Back off a little bit. Back off by coming higher with your upper body, and you go deeper by going lower. Gently seal your lips closed. Breathe in and out of your nose. If you want to, for this last half minute, you can take your right hand back to your left foot and go for a quad stretch as well. And even in the depth of the stretch, can you soften your eyes and keep your breath easy for 3. Nice, you guys. All right, so to come out of this is a little different. You're gonna come back up to your lunge, bring your foot to the inside of your hands, and we're gonna go into Ardha Hanumanasana, half heroes. So you're gonna start to lean back, sit onto the floor inside of your left foot. I'm sitting on a block, which I prefer, but you could sit on a cushion, a blanket, or the ground if your hips touch. If your hips don't touch, make sure you sit on something. Keep your right knee bent, bring your hands back behind you and start to lean back. The 2 things, lift your hips and scoop your tailbone under. Ooh, you might feel that difference. This is one of the tightest muscle groups of my body for me. The second thing is the front of your left hip. I want you to try to push that up towards the ceiling on a diagonal. It might not really leave the block. My hips are still down, but I'm pressing up in that direction. Good. You're gonna stay here for the last 20 seconds. If you're low enough and if that's easy enough, you can lower to your forearms only by keeping your left knee flat to the ground or pressing to the ground. If your left knee is lifted, come back up onto your hands and drive your right knee or left knee towards the floor. Some of you might be able to go all the way onto your back without the use of a prop. Your options for 3. All right, start to slowly come on out of that by leaning forward and downward facing dog. Woo! Nice work, you guys. In downward dog, if you want to open your mouth and breathe out, go ahead and do that like you're fogging a window. And first bring your left hand to touch your right hand, and then step your left foot outside of your hands and lower your back knee for lizard lunge. Lizard lunge, your left toes are straight forward and hug your left knee to your left arm. Move your wrists a little in front of your shoulders or lower to your forearms to the ground or blocks. If you think about the location of your hips, it makes sense that they take a lot of our stuff, a lot of our movement, that they get really tight. They're in the center. They connect our upper body to the lower body. There are a lot of major muscles there. Muscles that affect our feet and muscles that affect our back and our shoulders. walk your hands under your wrists and then, or under your shoulders, and turn your left toes out to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, somewhere around there, and then roll to the outer edge of your left foot so that you can see the bottom of your left foot without judgment, of course. Now this is a dragon's lunge with this variation to your left leg, and you can stay on your hands, shoulders not over your wrists, so your wrists more forward, or onto your forearms. These hip muscles, they're very powerful muscles, very large muscles, strong muscles. Our hip has the capability to move in a ton of directions, which makes sense because our hips are moved for walking and running and locomotion. And the bad news is they get really tight. And the good news is that you can stretch them out. My hope for you is after this practice, you will feel much more open in not just your hips, but your whole body as a result. The last little bit, if you want, you can reach your left hand back, hold onto your foot for a quad stretch. You may have to lift up onto your hand to be able to reach your foot. Breathe for 3. Okay, nice, you guys. And then we're gonna slowly bring your foot back into center between your hands. And here's where we're gonna transition slowly and gently to half heroes. You can walk your back foot forward or you can walk your front foot back to get there. You can sit on a floor to the inside of your right foot. Bring your hands behind you and your left knee down. Now lift your hips and scoop your tailbone under. Ooh, that already changes the stretch for me. Now, before we go anywhere else, drive your right thigh down. Press your right knee towards the floor. Keep that. It's one of the musts of this pose, that your right knee doesn't lift. Press that down. And then press your right hip flexors up towards the ceiling. If that feels good, stay. If you want more, lower to your forearms, keeping all of those things that we just talked about. Have your right leg be really active here. 4. Use your hands to press yourself up. No rush. Take your time. Downward facing dog pose is where we will meet. Feel free to lower to the ground into an up dog or cobra. Nice. Bring your right shin forward. Let's go half pigeon pose. Slide your left leg back. If you know where you're going, go ahead. Otherwise, a little bit of alignment, you're going to see that your right knee is aligned with your right wrist. And on your left side, your foot is going as close to your left wrist as you can. So your right shin is parallel-ish to the front of your mat. Maybe out of 300 people who come to my classes, I might see, not at one time, but in general, I might see 2 or 3 who can have their shin exactly parallel to the front. And then you can lower to your forearms, or even better yet, take the weight out of your shoulders and see if you can let your head drop to your arms and relax the weight of your upper body. You might find a use of a prop to be helpful to do that. Good, and this is a longer hold here. Often in my in-person classes, one of the things that I look for in this pose is the alignment of the hips. So usually we'll scan the room and look to see if your hips are falling, in this case, usually to the right. So while it's amazing to have the online classes to keep us together doing yoga, I can't check that, but here's a way that you can feel it. I want you to squeeze your hips towards each other. And usually squeezing your hips towards each other levels your hips out. So squeeze in, squeeze in. Now see if you can look under your body and see where your hips are. Now start to release that squeeze and see if you can just see your hips lower down. If you see your hips roll to the right after you've squeezed, then you might be rolling to the right. Thirty more seconds, settle in. Ungrip your fingers, ungrip your jaw, let your forehead center drop. You've done so much work throughout your day to hold your head up. Release, surrender, soften. There's nothing to do, no checklist to complete at the moment. No task to turn in, no one to report to, no one to report to you. Just right here, 20 seconds of full release. Let the responsibility go. All right, you guys, great work. Press on up, and you're not going to go to down dog. You're actually going to fall out to your right hip. Use your hands to help you, and swing your left leg around. I'm going to turn and face you, but you stay facing the front of your mat. Switch your legs so that your left shin is exactly now parallel to the front of your mat. So parallel, I do mean here with your left shin. Your right leg, the one that was just in half pigeon, you're going to draw that up towards you. Flex your foot so that it doesn't pull against your knee. Maybe you give your leg a little cradle. Then you're going to place the razor edge, the outer edge of your right foot on top of your left knee. Scoot your hips to the middle. Yeah. Double pigeon pose, Agni Stambhasana. If you know it, go ahead. You don't need to wait for me to guide you. Sometimes this is really hard. If you're finding like you're leaning back and your knee is to your throat, you might want to place your foot in front of your knee, not on your knee. Flex both feet, hinge over your hips, and lean forward. This pose is easy to death grip the floor. So just drum out your fingers a couple times from your thumbs to your pinkies. Gripping your hands won't make it easier, I promise. And same with your jaw. This is your last pose on this side. 30 seconds. I want you to give it the biggest release that you can. Don't push, don't force, but instead take an inhale, exhale, and see where you can soften. Don't worry about how deep you get, how low you go. Just focus on the softening, the releasing. Give up what you can, put down what you're carrying. 5, 3, 2, take a deep breath, and then your biggest exhale yet so far this class, let it go. And then press all the way up. Nice work, guys. You're gonna come to down dog, no rush to get there. That was a really big hip opener. Feel free again to go through plank down to your belly, into an up dog or cobra. Okay, let's bring your left shin towards the front of your mat, which means that your left knee goes towards your wrist, right foot towards your right wrist. Slide your back leg backward. Half pigeon pose. And just from the start, to make sure that you're at the center, hug your hips in a lot. And then just see if you can look down and see them, or at least feel them. And then slowly release your hips, but without falling to one side. So if you slowly release the grip of your hips, you'll notice if you lean towards one side or not. I fully recommend releasing the weight of your head downward. You can do that by making a pillow the backs of your hands, or you can get an actual pillow or a block and let that release. And why is because your head weighs a lot. It actually does. Your head weighs a lot. And so what happens is that when you just let your head hang downward, the muscles in the back of your neck are trying to pull your head up because the muscles are thinking, oh no, the head's dropping down. That's not good for the body. So those muscles in the back of your neck are just constantly working to pull your head up, pull your head up. And as a result, those muscles actually can just get tense. So as best as you can here, let the weight of your head relax. So you can give those muscles a break. Those muscles know that your head is safe when it's down. They can surrender to. You're giving your whole body the opportunity to release into the pose, not just your hips. Nice. Now start to walk your hands back. You're going to slowly, with control, lean to your left, swing your right leg around. I'm going to turn and face you. You're going to switch your legs so your right shin is on the bottom, parallel to the front of the mat. Hold your left leg, maybe give it a little cradle, and keep your foot flexed, your top foot flexed. It'll help protect your knee. You won't pull on it. Place your left foot on top of your right knee, and on the other side, your ankle underneath your knee. Other option, again, is to place your top foot in front of the knee onto the floor or onto a block. One breath at a time. Inhale. When you exhale, hinge over your hip creases. This is your last big effort, big stretch, big release to your hips. And once again, drum out your fingers, shake up your shoulders, and let go as much as you can. That person, that thing, that goal, that task that's been weighing on you, that you've been carrying around. This is the moment to let it go. Just to give yourself an opportunity to be a little bit more light and at ease. You'll get back to all of those things in a moment. But soften and surrender for 5, 3. Good. Last breath here. And then come all the way up. Nice. Extend your legs out. Slowly come on to your back. On your back, hug your knees to your chest. Happy baby. Hold on to your feet. Press your low back to the ground. little bit of left and right if you want. Shaking it out in your happy baby before you surrender in Shavasana. Well, let's release down to the ground. Shavasana, you guys. Let your legs go to the corners of your mat and your arms. Bring them just a little bit away from your body with your palms to face up. I like to take my hair tie out in Shavasana. It just helps to feel like I'm just loosening or releasing Feel free to join me if you have one of those. Take a nice long inhale. A big release out, exhale, and let the weight of your body fall into the floor. Soften the weight of your chest downward. Relax your temples, your forehead, your eyebrows, and your eyes. Allow your eyes to fall into the socket. Allow your skull to fall into the mat. And the weight of your mind to release to the back of your skull. Be still. And allow yourself this moment of surrender. Feel free to stay here. Otherwise, if you are ready to end at the 50-minute mark, then start to bend your knees, bring your feet to the ground, and slowly roll out to your right side. Press yourself all the way up to seated, facing the front of your mat with your legs crossed. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the ceiling and bring your hands down to your chest center. One more time. Inhale your arms out and up like you're gathering in your whole yoga practice. Bring your hands down to chest center. Let it settle. Bring your thumbs up to your forehead center. This is a gesture of gratitude, of recognition. Take a moment to acknowledge yourself here. Acknowledge others for their efforts, generosity, light. Wonderful job, you guys. Thank you for joining me. You can open your eyes. Thank you so much. So let me know if you have any questions after class. If you're on Zoom, I'll hang out for just a moment or two to answer any questions. If you are on Facebook Live, feel free to type them in there. I'd be happy to get back to them, or just anything, even hello, telling me how you are. I miss seeing everybody. So thanks, guys. I'll see you next Monday, 5 p.m. for Yin Vinyasa again. Yeah, you're welcome, you guys. Thank you.